Welcome to Lesson 2 of Week 10. Having explored reviewer psychology, we now turn to the specific language choices that make your writing more persuasive. This lesson focuses on persuasive rhetoric, particularly the use of active voice and power verbs. The words you choose and how you structure sentences significantly impact how reviewers perceive your competence and confidence. Proposals written in active voice with strong verbs convey a sense of agency and capability. Proposals written passively with weak verbs sound tentative and uncommitted. This lesson will help you understand the difference between active and passive voice, recognize why active voice is more persuasive in grant writing, identify and replace weak verbs with stronger alternatives, and apply these techniques to transform your writing. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to revise passive, weak sentences into active, powerful ones that project confidence and capability. These seemingly small changes have outsized impact on how reviewers perceive your proposal. Understanding the difference between active and passive voice is fundamental to persuasive grant writing. In active voice, the subject of the sentence performs the action. We will analyze the data, clearly identifies your team as the agents who will do the work. The sentence structure is subject, verb, object. The doer comes first. In passive voice, the subject receives the action rather than performing it. Data will be analyzed, puts the data in the subject position while obscuring who will actually do the analyzing. The agent is either missing entirely or relegated to a prepositional phrase at the end. The key difference is that active voice shows who is responsible. In grant writing, this matters enormously. Funders want to know that a specific team will execute specific activities. Active voice conveys commitment and ownership. Passive voice sounds evasive, as if you are hedging about who will actually do the work. The grant writing preference is strongly for active voice in almost all cases. Active voice is more direct, more confident, more engaging, and more persuasive. While occasional passive construction is acceptable, proposals dominated by passive voice signal weakness. Reviewers may unconsciously perceive passive writing as reflecting passive tentative thinking. Active voice persuades for several interconnected reasons. Understanding these reasons helps you recognize when and why active constructions strengthen your writing. Clarity eliminates ambiguity about who does what. The research team will conduct interviews, leaves no doubt about responsibility. Interviews will be conducted, leaves the reader wondering who exactly will do this. Clarity builds reviewer confidence that you have thought through implementation specifically. Confidence comes from taking ownership of proposed actions. Using we and stating what you will do signals commitment. You are not hoping something happens or suggesting it might occur. You are declaring what you will accomplish. This sense of agency and determination influences how reviewers perceive your capability. Engagement makes active voice more dynamic and interesting to read. Active sentences move forward with energy. Passive sentences feel static and bureaucratic. Given that reviewers read many proposals, writing that engages them is more likely to hold their attention and create positive impressions. Conciseness often follows from active construction, requiring fewer words to convey the same meaning. The data will be collected by the research team uses 8 words where the research team will collect data uses 6. Across a long proposal, this efficiency accumulates, giving you more space for substantive content. Converting passive to active voice follows a simple process. Practice this process until it becomes automatic. First, identify the actor by asking who is actually performing the action. In a passive sentence like surveys will be administered to participants, who administers the surveys, your project team, specific staff members. If the actor is not stated, you need to determine who it is. Every action has an agent. Passive construction just hides them. Second, move the actor to the subject position at the beginning of the sentence. The actor becomes the grammatical subject, taking center stage rather than being hidden or omitted. Third, restructure the sentence in subject plus verb plus object order. The actor performs the action on the object. This is the natural, direct structure of active voice. Example: surveys will be administered to participants by project staff, becomes project staff will administer surveys to participants. Better yet, if project staff refers to your team, we will administer surveys to participants. The active version is clearer, more confident, and slightly shorter. Practice this conversion by reviewing paragraphs from your drafts. Highlight passive constructions, identify the hidden actors, and rewrite in active voice. With practice, you will begin writing in active voice naturally. While active voice is generally preferred, passive voice is sometimes acceptable or even preferred. Understanding these exceptions helps you use passive deliberately rather than by default. Unknown actor situations occur when the agent is genuinely unknown or unimportant. The disease was first identified in 1972 is acceptable because who identified it may be less important than when it was identified. For historical or contextual background, passive may be appropriate. Emphasizing the object is appropriate when what was done matters more than who did it. In certain methodological descriptions, the process itself is the focus. Samples were analyzed using mass spectrometry emphasizes the analytical method rather than the technician who operated the equipment. Standard phrasing in some methodological descriptions uses passive by convention. Certain scientific writing traditions favor passive voice in methods sections. Know your field's conventions, but also recognize that many fields are shifting toward active voice even in technical writing. The guideline is to use passive deliberately, not by default. If you choose passive voice, have a reason. If you cannot articulate why passive is better for a particular sentence, convert it to active. The problem is not occasional passive construction. It is passive voice as a default that makes writing weak and evasive. Power verbs are strong specific verbs that convey action and capability. They contrast with weak generic verbs that say little about what you will actually do. Weak verbs include will do, will make, will have, and will be. These verbs are so general that they convey almost no information about your actual activities. We will do research says nothing specific. We will make improvements is vague. These verbs feel passive even in grammatically active sentences. Strong verbs include will implement, will analyze, will develop, will achieve, will establish, will create, will demonstrate, will evaluate, and many others. These verbs convey specific actions. We will implement an evidence-based curriculum tells reviewers exactly what you will do. We will analyze longitudinal data describes a specific activity. The impact of verb choice signals confidence and specificity. Proposals full of strong verbs sound like they were written by people who know exactly what they plan to do and are committed to doing it. Proposals relying on weak verbs sound uncertain and vague, as if the writers have not really thought through implementation. Choose verbs that convey the specific nature of your activities. Power verbs fall into categories that serve different purposes in grant writing. Having a vocabulary of strong verbs in each category helps you choose precisely. Action verbs describe implementation activities. Implement, execute, conduct, perform, deliver, administer, coordinate, manage, facilitate, lead. These verbs convey doing, the actual work of carrying out your project. We will implement the intervention. We will conduct site visits. We will deliver training sessions. Analysis verbs describe research and evaluation activities. Analyze, evaluate, assess, examine, investigate, measure, test, compare, determine, identify. These verbs convey systematic inquiry. We will analyze program outcomes. We will evaluate implementation fidelity. We will assess participant satisfaction. Creation verbs describe development activities. Develop, create, design, build, establish, construct, formulate, produce, generate, devise. These verbs convey bringing something new into existence. We will develop a curriculum. We will create assessment tools. We will establish partnerships. Achievement verbs describe outcomes and accomplishments. Achieve, accomplish, demonstrate, produce, generate, attain, realize, yield, prove, show. These verbs convey results. We will demonstrate effectiveness. We will achieve measurable improvement. We will produce replicable findings. Match your verb choice to the nature of each activity. Replacing weak verbs with stronger alternatives often involves eliminating unnecessary words while choosing more precise verbs. Review these common patterns. We will do an analysis becomes we will analyze. The weak construction uses do plus a noun derived from a verb. Convert the noun back to a verb and eliminate the unnecessary words. You convey the same meaning more directly and powerfully. We will make improvements becomes we will improve. Again, make plus noun becomes a single strong verb. The revision is shorter and more direct. Look for this pattern throughout your writing. We will have meetings becomes we will convene meetings. Have is among the weakest verbs. What specifically will you do with the meetings? Convene them, facilitate them, lead them. Choose a verb that describes your actual role. The project will be focused on becomes the project will focus on. This eliminates passive construction while also shortening the sentence. Be plus past participle often signals hidden passive voice. Convert to simple active verb. Practice spotting these patterns in your drafts. When you see do, make, have, or forms of be followed by nouns, ask whether a single stronger verb could replace the weak construction. Usually it can, and the result is more powerful writing. Verb tense in proposals follows logical patterns based on when activities occur. Using appropriate tenses helps reviewers understand your timeline and status. Future tense is appropriate for proposed activities that will happen if funded. We will implement the curriculum in year 1. We will analyze data in year 2. Most of your methods section should be in future tense because you are describing what you plan to do. Present tense is appropriate for existing conditions that currently exist. The community lacks access to mental health services. The target population experiences significant barriers. Background and needs sections often use present tense to describe the current situation you propose to address. Past tense is appropriate for completed work, either your own preliminary work or previous research by others. Previous research demonstrated the effectiveness of this approach. Our pilot study showed promising results. Literature review and preliminary data sections use past tense for work already done. Consistency within sections matters. Avoid shifting randomly between tenses. If you are describing proposed activities, stay in future tense. If you are describing existing conditions, stay in present tense. Inconsistent tense confuses readers and suggests careless writing. Review each section to ensure tense is appropriate and consistent throughout. Sentence structure and rhythm affect readability and engagement. Varied, well-constructed sentences keep reviewers engaged. Vary sentence length by mixing short, punchy sentences with longer, more complex ones. A page of uniformly long sentences is exhausting. A page of uniformly short sentences feels choppy. The variation creates rhythm that maintains reader interest. Short sentences can deliver key points with impact. Longer sentences can develop complex ideas fully. Lead with strength by putting important content at sentence beginnings. Readers pay most attention to the start of sentences. The project will achieve significant outcomes, places emphasis differently than significant outcomes will be achieved by the project. Position your most important content where it gets the most attention. Avoid nominalizations by using verbs instead of noun forms when possible. The implementation of the program will occur is weaker than we will implement the program. Making a decision about becomes deciding. Conducting an analysis of becomes analyzing. Nominalizations add words without adding meaning. Read your writing aloud to catch awkward rhythm. Sentences that are hard to read aloud are hard to read silently. If you stumble over a sentence, revise it. If you run out of breath, it is too long. Your ear catches problems your eye misses. Persuasive writing requires confidence without arrogance. Finding the right balance makes your proposal compelling without being off-putting. Appropriate confidence uses assertive language about what you will accomplish. We will achieve measurable outcomes is more persuasive than we hope to achieve outcomes. Proposals are commitments. Write as if you are confident you will deliver what you promise. Reviewers fund proposals that sound like they will succeed. Avoiding hedging means minimizing words like might, could, possibly, and perhaps. Excessive hedging sounds uncertain. This approach might possibly improve outcomes if conditions are favorable, signals doubt about your own project. Some qualification is appropriate when genuinely uncertain, but do not hedge habitually out of false modesty. Supporting claims with evidence makes confidence persuasive rather than empty. Based on our successful pilot and the strength of our team, we will achieve a 20% improvement sounds confident and credible. We will definitely achieve amazing results sounds like unsupported boasting. Back your confident claims with evidence. Cultural awareness recognizes that some academic fields and some international contexts value more modest language. Know your audience. If you are writing for a field where aggressive confidence reads as arrogance, calibrate accordingly. But for most federal grants, confident language backed by evidence is appropriate and expected. Eliminating filler words tightens your writing and makes every word count. In page-limited proposals, this efficiency matters. Common filler words include very, really, actually, basically, and essentially. These words rarely add meaning. A very important factor is no more important than an important factor. The intervention is really effective says no more than the intervention is effective. Delete these words and your sentences become stronger. Empty phrases waste space with no added meaning. In order to can almost always become simply to. At this point in time just means now, due to the fact that means because, for the purpose of means to. Replace these phrases with their shorter equivalents. Weak qualifiers like somewhat, rather, fairly, and quite dilute your claims. The results were somewhat positive sounds less compelling than the results were positive. If results were positive, say so. If they were mixed, say that directly rather than hedging with qualifiers. The benefit of cutting filler is that every remaining word carries weight. In a page-limited proposal, you cannot afford to waste words on content that adds nothing. Ruthless editing that eliminates filler creates space for substantive content and makes your writing more forceful. Applying persuasive rhetoric requires systematic revision. Build these techniques into your editing process. The revision process should convert passive to active throughout your draft. After completing a section, review every sentence for passive construction. When you find passive voice, convert to active unless you have a specific reason to keep it passive. This single revision pass significantly strengthens most proposals. Verb audit reviews all verbs and strengthens weak ones. Look for forms of do, make, have, and be that could be replaced with specific action verbs. Look for nominalizations that could become verbs. Each weak verb replaced with a strong one adds energy to your writing. Filler purge searches for and eliminates common filler words. Use your word processor's find function to search for very, really, actually, basically, somewhat, and other common fillers. Evaluate each instance. Most can be deleted without losing meaning. Read for confidence as a final check. Read your proposal asking, does this sound like it was written by someone who believes in their project? Does it convey competence and commitment, or does it sound uncertain and hedging? Adjust language until your proposal projects the confidence your project deserves. Before and after examples illustrate the transformation that persuasive rhetoric creates. Study these patterns to internalize the techniques. Before, an assessment of participant outcomes will be made by the evaluation team. This sentence is passive, uses nominalization, and puts the actor at the end. After, the evaluation team will assess participant outcomes. Active voice, strong verb, clear agent. The revision is shorter, clearer, and more confident. Before, it is hoped that improvements will be seen in student performance. This sentence hides the agent entirely, uses passive voice, and hedges with it is hoped. Who hopes? What improvements? After, we expect to improve student performance by 15%. Active voice, specific claim, quantified outcome. The revision takes ownership, projects confidence, and provides specificity. These transformations follow the same patterns. Identify the actor and make them the subject. Convert passive to active. Replace weak verbs with strong ones. Add specificity where possible. Each transformation makes the writing more persuasive. Practice these conversions until they become automatic. Soon you will write strong sentences naturally rather than having to revise weak ones. Let us summarize the key points from this lesson on persuasive rhetoric. Active voice and strong verbs convey confidence and capability. We will implement is more persuasive than implementation will occur. Active voice shows who is responsible and takes ownership of commitments. Strong verbs convey specific action rather than vague doing. These language choices influence how reviewers perceive your competence. The conversion process involves identifying the actor hidden in passive sentences, moving that actor to the subject position, and strengthening verbs where possible. This process becomes automatic with practice. Systematic revision passes focused on voice and verb significantly improve proposal quality. Filler elimination cuts words that add no meaning, very really, basically, somewhat, and empty phrases waste precious space in page-limited proposals. Ruthless editing that removes filler makes every remaining word count. Tighter writing is stronger writing. In our next lesson, we examine win themes and proposal branding. Beyond sentence-level rhetoric, we will explore how to develop core messages that repeat strategically throughout your proposal, creating memorable identity and reinforcing your competitive advantages. Practice exercise. Take a paragraph from any writing and revise it to eliminate all passive voice, replace weak verbs with strong ones, and cut filler words. Compare the before and after versions for clarity and confidence.